This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Monday, the 10th day of March in the year 2025. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here is what we're tracking tonight. Tonight, the Georgetown Public Hospital has launched an immediate investigation into the death of Fireman Voucher, who passed away at the hospital on Saturday night. The fireman, who was injured in the line of duty while battling the fire at the Mays School, was a patient at the Georgetown Hospital for 3 days before passing away. His family has raised serious concern about the level of care offered to him while at the hospital. The 27-year-old fireman was admitted to the Georgetown Hospital last Wednesday with serious injuries suffered when a wall collapsed on him during a battle with a fire at the Mays School last Wednesday. His family believes his condition worsened after he fell from the bed at the hospital. They said they were never informed by the hospital about that fall and only learned about it after his death from another patient. They have also raised concern about him not being taken for a body and head scan in time and the impact those delays might have had on his treatment. His aunt, Remy Anderson, spoke to News Source via phone today.
Voucher's mom is right now coping with the tragic loss of her only child, while she's at the, where she has the responsibility to make homegoing arrangements. A parent shouldn't have to bury a child, but these things happen. And we wish to focus on celebrating his life as a serviceman, as a human being, the only child of a mother and the loved one of his family and relatives. And the other point I want to make, Gordon, is that, as you are aware already, there are, from media reports, Minister Ben, the fire service, among others, visited his family. They came to the family home. The GPHC put out a statement about its commitment to launching an independent investigation. And so those things are out there. What we hope is that the fire service, the Ministry of Home Affairs, the GPHC, and all those who are involved in this matter, take due diligence to ensure that his sacrifice is honored. That's important to us. That his memory is not disrespected, and that justice is ultimately meted out to his hurting family. And finally, Gordon, I want to say this: Voucher's life must mean positive change. The delivery of treatment and care, which will ensure that no other servicemen in this country, and not just servicemen, but Guyanese in general and their families should go through this.
This afternoon, the management at the Georgetown Hospital said the investigation will be led by a panel chaired by a senior clinician from outside the institution. The panel will also comprise both external and internal medical specialists to ensure a thorough and objective review. The Georgetown Hospital has said it remains committed to transparency and will provide updates as the investigation progresses. In a statement on Sunday, the Ministry of Home Affairs said that during the firefight at the May School, Fireman Manbu sustained severe injuries when portions of the roof and wall of the building collapsed, resulting in reported fractures to his neck, which impaired motor functions. The ministry said the fireman's heroic efforts will not be forgotten, while indicating that through the Guyana Fire Service, it will provide full support to his family. The Home Affairs Minister visited the mother of the late fireman on Sunday morning to offer his personal condolences. The fireman was his mother's only child. The Home Affairs Ministry said the loss of Fireman Manbu serves as a solemn reminder of the dangers faced by firefighters daily, adding that their bravery and commitment to protecting lives and property are unparalleled. 3 other firemen also suffered injuries at the Mays fire. However, those 3 have since been discharged from the hospital. The Home Affairs Ministry has also promised that an investigation will be conducted to identify the cause of the fireman's death as well as the injuries sustained during the firefight at Mays. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Citizens, please be reminded that the Ministry of Housing and Water does not sell land or housing units through any third-party arrangements or accept payments through any mobile money platforms. All our allocations are done at our Brickdam Georgetown Main office, any of our regional offices, or at any scheduled Dream Realized event. A message from the Ministry of Housing and Water, Central Housing and Planning Authority.
Mobile Delvac Heavy Duty Lubricants. With more than 90 years of experience and innovation, Mobile Delvac is a recognized leader in advanced heavy duty lubricants. Discover how the state-of-the-art Mobile Delvac technology can help protect and extend the life of your diesel engines. Mobile Delvac, the trusted brand for many successful businesses. Protect your fleet and keep your vehicles on the road and out of the shop. Helped by Mobile Motor Oils. Distributed by Sol Guyana Inc.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Health today signed 3 memoranda of understanding with a number of service providers as it prepares to roll out a healthcare initiative that will see some 500,000 Guyanese having access to health vouchers to receive specialized care. The vouchers are intended to subsidize the cost for eye testing and spectacles, cervical cancer screening, and universal health care. The Universal Healthcare Voucher Program is being rolled out for the very first time, while the other 2 voucher programs were initiated last year. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Health, Malcolm Watkins, said the government is working to address issues that arose in 2024, particularly with regards to the issuance of payments.
Really appreciate the feedback you've given us, and they're very candid. We sat down with the internal team, went through those feedback and tried to put some systems or improve existing systems to make this year a bit more seamless. We understand that last year there were some delays in payments. I can tell you now that we have resolved that with the Ministry of Finance, and you will be called to pick up those unpaid from last year.
The voucher program forms part of a menu of measures that were included in this year's national budget. The Health Voucher Initiative, which complements the other initiatives, is aimed, according to the government, at providing the best possible care to citizens. The voucher will be available to Guyanese to help finance a menu of health tests. It is expected to cost the government approximately $5 billion, potentially reaching 500,000 people. Meanwhile, over the weekend, the government launched its Newborn Cash Grant Initiative, targeting more than 2,000 babies born in Guyana to Guyanese mothers this year. Each mother will receive a grant of $100,000. The initiative is expected to amount to about $1.3 billion. Tonight, the Working People's Alliance is calling for a complete review of the Guyana Online Academy of Learning Scholarship Program, in wake of the University of Staffordshire in the UK distancing itself from the program and courses offered through the online academy. The University of Staffordshire has said that it has no agreement with the International Skill Development Corporation to offer courses through the Gold Scholarship Program and has never had any such agreement. During a press conference today, Working People's Alliance Executive Takuma Ugunsi said hundreds of Guyanese could be affected and the review of the Gold Scholarship Program is warranted. Mr. Ugunsi said there are several questions about the Gold programs and the billions of dollars that have been allocated to it by the government.
And also, it was a scheme designed as usual to put money in the hands of the PPP racketeers. And it had little to do with advancing education. And we believe that in any reconsideration of the project, we will be hard pressed to agree for a continuation which doesn't integrate it into the national university system.
The Working People's Alliance also believes the online scholarship program should be integrated into the University of Guyana.
We will hope that a review of the project would eventually place the project under or integrate it with the University of Guyana, so that it becomes, part and parcel of that institution. We are not buying into the government's attempt to have two parallel universities, one that they control based upon party and partisan oversight, and a process that have led to frustrations among the hundreds of persons who have signed on to the project, just to be told that they're in a bogus scheme.
Ogunsi said the government has done a disservice to the hundreds of Guyanese who had signed up for the courses that were alleged to have been offered by the University of Staffordshire. Co-leader of the WPA, Dr. David Hines, made it clear that the party is not against scholarship programs, but he said it must be transparent and void of scandals.
Look, we welcome any initiative that is going to help our young people upgrade their skills, their skill set, their knowledge base. And so, in principle, nothing is wrong with a scholarship program. But as we said with this government, it is not so much the projects that they advance. It is the objective of the project they advance, as Brother Ogunse said, and how they manage these projects. And so we do not support a project that, first of all, undercuts the University of Guyana. We feel very strongly about that. And secondly, a project that devalues the skill set of our young people rather than adding value to what they already have.
Vice President Barra Jagdune, addressing the issue recently, said the denial of the University of Staffordshire might have been as a result of a fallout between itself and the ISDC. The government, through GOAL, intends to meet with both the university and the ISDC to resolve the matter. However, according to the government, if not resolved, two other universities in the UK are willing to use the grades obtained by the students and issue certification. GOAL has since removed the University of Staffordshire from among the universities on its offering list for scholarships. Well, the leader of the People's National Congress Reform and Opposition leader Aubrey Norton believes there could be post-elections problems if the current list of electors is used for this year's general and regional elections. Mr. Norton continues to push his belief that the introduction of biometrics will reduce instances of impersonation at the place of polls. Speaking during his party's program Nation Watch on Sunday, the PNC Reform leader maintained that it will be difficult to consider the 2025 elections being fair with the current list of electors, which the party believes is bloated.
To go into the elections without a clean voters list is in itself a recipe for post-election problems, and the PPP government has to decide if it wants post-elections confusion or if it wants to have biometrics, a clean voters list, and ensure that the election results are acceptable to all Guyanese regardless of their political persuasion. That is the issue before us.
According to Mr. Norton, the PNC Reform has been and will continue to work with the international community on the issue. He said his party is heartened by the European Union's pre-election observer mission that is underground and listening to concerns. He expressed confidence that the party might be able to get biometrics and the clean voters list because of the concerns that the party has raised with the international community.
The government seems to be dilly-dallying and doing all kinds of things to ensure that it arrives at a point where there is no time to do it. Of course, there are a lot of negative consequences for that, but I'm still optimistic that good sense will prevail and that we will at minimum get biometrics and be able to ensure the outcome of the elections reflect the interest and the will of the people.
Norton also said the current list could have grave complications for the elections.
So the government is going to do everything to ensure that we do not get a clean voters list, because that creates the opportunity for them to be involved in illegalities. We have already established that they will stop at nothing. If something as simple as the local government election, the vice president had to apologize for vote signature and all kinds of fraud, that is indicative of the mindset of the People's Progressive Party.
The PNC reform leader said it continues to be an embarrassing situation that the current voters list is almost the size of the country's entire population. He said his party did not take part in the claims and objections exercise because it will be a fruitless move, noting that the problem is bigger than removing one or two persons from the list.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Ready to up your game? Ready to up your game? Win big with over 60 epic prizes. A brand new PS5, Nintendo Switch, iPhone 16 Pro Max, Apple smartwatch, and the hottest earbuds from Apple and Samsung. Plus, we are giving away thousands in phone credit and a whole year supply of Buster or Turbo Energy drink. Here's how. Buy any Buster or Turbo Energy drink, find the code starting with BB and enter online or on WhatsApp. Visit us on Facebook or Instagram at Turbo_Caribbean or Buster Guyana for all the details. Don't just play. Up your game with Buster and Turbo Energy.
Matters of the economy to report now. Guyana's economic transformation is advancing at a strong pace. That's according to an International Monetary Fund team in its preliminary report on the conclusion of the 2025 Article 4 mission. That growth has been linked to the country's rapidly expanding oil and gas sector and advancements made in the non-oil sector. The IMF team said rapidly expanding oil production, strong non-oil output, and large-scale public infrastructure investment supported the highest real GDP growth rate in the world at a recorded average of 47% in 2022 to 2024. According to the report, the non-oil economy continues to reflect a solid broad-based performance across the various sectors, especially construction and services. It is estimated that the country's gross domestic product will grow by an average of 10.25%, while the non-oil economy will grow by 13% this year. However, inflation is expected to edge up to around 4% by the end of 2025, from close about 3% by the end of 2024. The country's deficit at the level of the budget is expected to narrow down to about 5% or below in 2025, the report said. The IMF said following a strong fiscal impulse in 2024, the budget deficit is expected to narrow from 7.3% of the GDP to just below 5% of the GDP this year, as higher oil revenues more than offset the projected increase in spending. The large current account surplus of 24.5% of GDP in 2024 is projected to moderate to about 9% of GDP in 2025, reflecting the import of the fourth oil floating production, storage, and offloading vessel. The IMF team also reported that the country's medium-term economic outlook remains highly favorable with balanced risk. It is projected that the economy on average will grow by about 14% annually for the next 5 years. This growth, the IMF team reported, will be driven by robust oil production amid a growing share of the non-oil sector. The non-oil GDP is projected to expand on average by about 6.75% this year. Addressing the issue of risk, the IMF team reported that on the upside, further oil discoveries and productivity-enhancing investments, including to strengthen energy resilience, would further bolster Guyana's economic prospects. However, on the downside, risk could stem from overheating pressures, which, if not contained, could lead to higher inflation and real exchange rate appreciation beyond the level consistent with a balanced expansion of the economy. The report said, too, that commodity price volatility in a highly uncertain global environment and climate shocks could also adversely affect inflation and alter the macroeconomic outlook. The team in its report urged the Guyanese authorities to maintain macroeconomic stability, ensure fiscal sustainability, and foster inclusive growth. It said social transfer policies implemented in recent years have increased disposable income and reduced the poverty rate. The report also noted that while there are no clear signs of overheating at this time, it is essential to enhance the close monitoring of macroeconomic developments and to proactively respond through tighter policies to ensure that the economy avoids overheating and remains on a balanced expansion path. Further, it recommended additional targeted social transfers. Such a move, the IMF said, could further support inclusive growth and help Guyana to advance faster towards its sustainable development goals of no poverty. The mission was conducted between February and March 7 and was based on consultations with government officials, including the Vice President Bara Jagdeo and the Finance Minister Dr. Ashley Singh, as well as the Governor of the Bank of Guyana, trade unionists, and representatives of the private sector and the commercial banks, along with other groups. In the agriculture sector right now, having performed way below expectations last year, Guyana today announced the start of the first crop of 2025, with all 4 estates, Rose Hall, Blairmont, Albion, and Iflot, actively engaged in production. Singling out the Rose Hall estate, Guyana in a statement said the estate has exceeded its weekly crop target by 5% for the period March through to 8, marking a strong start to the season. It said Rose Hall was the first of the 4 grinding estates to begin production, utilizing both mechanized and semi-mechanical harvesting methods. The Rose Hall estate manager said it was as a result of the support received from the Albion estate that led to Rose Hall surpassing its target. He's also optimistic that with the continued dedication of the harvesters and contractors, greater success could be realized. He also commended his team for the unwavering commitment, particularly in overcoming the challenges of several rainy days during the week of their achievement. As a reward for their outstanding performance, Rose Hall estate workers will receive a weekly production incentive bonus equivalent to 1 extra day's salary. Guyana said it remains committed to a successful and productive crop season driven by dedication of its workforce. In the courts right now, the Brazilian woman who was arrested last week along with a Brazilian man during an alleged gold smuggling bust has been charged and granted bail in the sum of $75,000. The man is still to be charged. 39-year-old Eris Angela de Oliveira appeared in court this morning before Magistrate Faith McGusty and pleaded not guilty to the gold smuggling charge. She was represented by attorney Bernard de Silva. The accused was officially charged with purchasing gold from a person other than the gold board or an authorized agent of the board contrary to the laws of Guyana. As part of her bail agreement, she will have to appear at the Special Organized Crime Unit of the police force every 3rd Wednesday of the month. In a statement announcing the bust last week, SOCU said its officers arrested 2 suspects and seized a quantity of gold and money during the joint operation in the Letem Tang. A total of 26 million Guyana dollars was seized from the suspected gold smugglers. The Guyana Police Force said it has been leading a number of operations in collaboration with various mining groups and the GPHC to clamp down on gold smuggling.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look. You know the one. Or one touch. Even one word. I can start with one step. Or one promise. One thrill. One first time. One deep breath. One leap of faith. One day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyoil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyoil has now repositioned itself as market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall in the region. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro said on Saturday that scheduled flights to bring home Venezuelan migrants from the U.S. had been affected by this unexplained tremendous commotion after the U.S. administration canceled a license allowing Chevron to operate in the South American country. According to Reuters, earlier in his remarks, Maduro said if it was up to him, Chevron would remain in Venezuela, referring to U.S. President Donald Trump's decision last week to reverse a key license for the company, citing lack of progress on electoral reforms and migrant returns. Maduro, however, did not mention the company's name directly in reference to the migrant flights. He said the communication between the two countries had been damaged and flights affected. Maduro and his government have always rejected sanctions by the U.S. and others. 4 men were killed in separate incidents between Friday night and Sunday in Trinidad and Tobago, according to Trinidad Express. The most recent incident is the shooting death of a 54-year-old butcher whose body was found in his yard early Sunday morning. The deceased has been identified as Faizul Aladdin of Spur Trace Puzzle Island, Trinidad and Tobago. Police responded to a report around 6:33 a.m. on Sunday and found Aladdin's motionless body in the garage area of his home. He was lying on his left side, bareback and wearing grey long pants. Police observed apparent gunshot wounds to his body. The scene was secured and relatives who arrived identified the deceased. Investigation into the suspected murder is ongoing. Trinidad and Tobago's murder toll currently stands at 72. And finally tonight, international news. According to Reuters, former central banker Mark Carney claimed a landslide victory on Sunday to lead Canada's Liberal Party and become its next prime minister, setting him up for a clash with the Trump administration. Liberal Party members bet on Carney as the man best placed to take on the U.S. President Donald Trump, who has threatened a takeover as well as launching a trade war and punishing tariffs on the long-time ally. Liberal sources say Carney will soon call for general election. In his acceptance speech late Sunday night, Carney said, and I quote, "The Americans want our resources, our water, our land, our country. If they succeed, they will destroy our way of life." End of quote. Carney, who has no political experience, is normally more reserved than Trudeau, who often had a combative relationship with Trump. The United States is due to slap a 25% tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum on Wednesday. Canada imposed a 25% tariff on $30 billion worth of U.S. imports when Trump last month announced its initial tariffs. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall, wishing you a pleasant evening.